Here we go, people. My name is Ian Katanak from SavvyZen.com, and today I am going to answer the question, do we really need, or do you need yoga philosophy? Well, the answer is no. You actually don't need yoga philosophy. But yoga philosophy is great, and it is one of the best systems out there for you to attain higher consciousness. But do you need it to attain higher consciousness? No, because a lot of people have attained higher consciousness and connection with the divine or the ether, whatever you want to call it, without yoga philosophy. And that is one of the problems in the yoga community, that we're closed-minded to all the other systems, that we haven't learned that if you learn one system of one esoteric or mystic system, that learning all the other ones become a lot easier. And that you just need to dive into one. It doesn't matter if it's yoga philosophy, the Kabbalah, tarot, esoteric Christianity, Freemasonry. There's a million different things that you can get into. But you need to learn the chakra system, astrology. You just need to learn one and learn it well. And then learn another one and learn it well. And don't stop until you're an integrated and initiated person. And then you don't stop anyway, because you have to keep going. You have to continue the great work and spread that information. But we haven't even, in yoga, learned one system. The leaders in yoga haven't learned one system yet. And some of them have, but let's talk about the Yoga Alliance, the Yoga Mafia Alliance, who makes you pay to get certified, who thinks that you need to pay them for them to tell you that you can teach. In their system, all you need is 30 hours of discussion and thought regarding yoga philosophy, ethics, and lifestyle. But all 30 of those hours, one, don't need to be in person. A lot of it could be spent in reading time. But if you look at YTT reading lists, a lot of them you don't even read any substantial books. You read some small Yoga Sutras or Gita translations, some book on ethics, some book on maybe anatomy. But you don't get this But that's not enough. I spend 30 hours a week reading easily on systems of philosophy. And that's not very much compared to other people I know who are in the game, scholars, people who really care. I spend my time, I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm not an expert. But the experts, they're 60 to 80 hours a week. And you need 30 hours and that's it. And that's the basis of a lot of people's education in the esoteric. They read a few things in their yoga teacher training. They maybe read a book or two more on yoga, on some airplane rides to retreats. Then they read a few new age books, new age pop books from Hay House, like Big Magic, and, or just whatever, which are cool books. And that is the basis that's their education. And here they are with hundreds of thousands of followers. And at the end of every little one of their little things, it says, get 10% off of this product that you really need. It's so great. You really need this. I wrote this whole thing to emotionally get you into this. And we're giving power to these people. And this is one of the problems with the community, is that knowledge is hidden. Knowledge is so occulted, hidden from the eye in yoga. And that's why we give power to these gurus, because they're not providing us with this information. In Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, you need to be on third series to do pranayama. It took them until 3 years ago to add some Sanskrit chanting. All they do is you just do some Sanskrit chanting now. And there's a conference where you just talk about, or Sharat or Patavi back in the day talks about a bunch of irrelevant stuff. Go read some of the transcripts of that stuff. I mean, there's some good stuff in there, but if you read Pidou Uspensky or Dion Fortune or Israel Regardie or Edwin Bryant, I mean, there's a lot of people on the eastern side. They just blow that stuff out of the water. All you gotta do is read the introduction and you've learned more. So it's like, wait, we're giving power to these people, and this is stemming from this axiomatic principle that we don't want to confront the shadow side of the subconscious. In the My Enlightenment movement, it's all about feeling good. It's all about your enlightenment. Feeling good in your body, feeling good with this, manifesting, being on retreats, being in Bali, feeling comfortable about yourself, body positivity. But what about the shadow side? What about that thing that you haven't told anyone that's the thing that you feel ashamed about, that you feel guilty about? And we hear a little bit about this. Like I said, these people that give us the 10% off thing at the end of their Instagram posts, they talk about this a little bit, but they don't. Where are the real techniques to confront the subconscious? Just journaling or doing a few of these things isn't really diving into the subconscious. Looking at the Kliptoth or the in reverse Kabbalah or Tree of Life and meditating on those symbols or meditating on symbols and using Carl Jung's or the middle pillar meditation to dive deep into your subconscious is just a start. That's just step one. You probably have to do that for 7 or 8 years because I feel like I've barely started and I've been in the game for a while. This subconscious stuff is not just, like I said, it takes a lot and it's a never-ending journey that takes hundreds of hours of research and hundreds of hours of application to get into. And that's why yoga is so obsessed with the solar movements, with sun salutations and really fast movements and all this stuff. Because why do we seek solar symbolism and solar movements? Because subconsciously we are seeking light. Subconsciously we know that we're not enlightened, and inadvertently we seek the light. That's why we're seeking all this stuff. But there's so much solar symbolism and solar stuff in yoga, but we don't know that. That's just basic psychoanalysis 101, that we are seeking what we are repressing, that we don't have inside, and what we need to... You get what I'm trying to say. So do we need yoga philosophy? No. But should we have yoga philosophy or any other system? Yes. Because yoga philosophy does make you confront the subconscious. When you get into it, you do confront the subconscious. And you get into some of these things. But you can't stop with just one thing. Go ask some of these gurus about some of these other esoteric traditions. These people don't stop. The Buddha started out as a royal man who participated in rituals that were based in like kind of religious rituals based in Hinduism. Then he was an ascetic who was starving himself and torturing himself and doing all this painful stuff. Then he meditated, under the Bodhi tree, and then he became an action-oriented person and put that stuff into the world and learned how to communicate, which is also an esoteric system, how to use your will in the world. So I just named 4, and I'm sure there was more, but he learned 4 different systems to get to the point where he was saying the stuff that we're reading now. I mean, I could just go through every single huge figure in religions right now, and they all had many different forms of initiation. But we support people who stop at one, and we wonder why there's so many problems in yoga and sexual scandals and all these different things, because people aren't continuing the journey. You learn a system, you move on. You synthesize those traditions and you start formulating them in your mind. How does the Kabbalah connect with the 3 pillars of yoga, right? Because they do connect. That's for a different video. We don't need to get into that here, but the worst thing you can do is not start the journey or stop the journey. It's not start the journey for truth or stop the journey for truth while you're on it. And once yoga feels so good, yoga is the creation and flow of energy. And once we have the ability to make all this energy flow and we're producing all this energy, we're like, I got it. I made it. I can get rid of all this crap from my old life. I can delete it. By using the techniques of ego obliteration, I can forget all about that crap in my old life and I can feel good. Game over. Time to go to Bali and go on a retreat and just bliss out. That's the mindset here. Read posts, actually objectively look at these things. And are these people initiated into the occult? Should we be listening to these people? God damn, they had their shit together more in the 1930s. I mean, there's a lot of controversial figures back then, but Crowley, Ouspensky, Jurida, Fortune, Rigardi, Israel Regardie. I mean, I can just look at this bookshelf and see a list of people who were synthesizing these things a long time ago, and they didn't get this. I mean, but I think that's a part of life, though. But the real truth doesn't get support. The fake stuff, the half truths, are getting support because it hurts. It's going to hurt. Going into your subconscious and confronting it is going to be the hardest thing that you ever do. There is nothing harder than that. And that isn't fun. That isn't blissful. That isn't that 60-minute sweaty hot vinyasa class that makes you feel so high, makes you feel like you're on drugs. No, it's that you're laying in your room confronting your life and apologizing to people from 10 years ago and crying. That's what that is. And as a community, we need to get it together and start confronting those things and move in that direction and get rid of the MLM affiliate BS and support the people who are putting out real content that make us confront things, not little 10-page ebooks that cost $25. We need to support these people. They're out there. They're real. And change the yoga community, because the yoga community can transform the world. The ability to create energy and make it flow can change the dynamic of the world as long as we have as long as we have the will and love in our a will and love in our hearts. So it's got a little emotional. I wrote a pretty well-length article on SavvyZen.com that's linked below on the same subject. I go into probably a few different things and go deeper, not as deep. So this is Ian from Savvy Zen. Check it out. Read books. Never stop. Get enlightened. Do you. Peace.